Hey everybody, Ruin the Gaming Dad from the Arc Trade Federation, and today we're on Arc Survival Ascended and we're going over how to use the new Sir-5rM8. It's a really cool thing, but it can be very difficult to understand how to make it work, but once you do, it's awesome. So first things first, how do you get it? So you need the Bob's Tall Tales DLC in order to be able to do this, and the Sir-5rM8 is actually level 86 and it takes a lot of stuff to craft. So come prepared because this is a lot of resources. The second thing I'm going to use is the linked storage, and this is what I found works the best with this. Again, level 100 to make this, but and it's pretty expensive, but worth it in the long run. So let's get started. So you can power this with a regular generator. I'm in creative mode here just to show you, but I'm actually powering this with a tech generator outside. So let's get started. So first things first, when you make this link storage, it's going to take 5 minutes for it to kind of power up. And I've got two other link storages across the map, and we're going to use one specifically to show you how it all interconnects and how this Sir-5rM8 works. Okay, so first things first. If we make one of these Sir-5rM8s, it has a couple different functions. The first one, it can follow you, of course, but it can repair things around your base, so structures. So as long as you have those items in dead storage or in some sort of storage capacity, you can repair stuff around the base. The second is harvest. So if you set this thing to harvest, what it'll do, you can actually say, hey, I'd like for you, and I've actually got some fiber in my inventory here, I'd like for you to go add as input and go find fiber. It's actually gathering fiber from underneath the base, which is pretty wild. You can see it gathering 817 there. It doesn't necessarily go out. It doesn't open doors, and it tends to run into things. So if you want to let it outside, my advice to you is to let it follow you and then let it go from there, or at the very least, let it get outside. The reason why, and what I found is the best, is when you send it out to gather, and we'll stop it right over here just so you can see. When you change its function from follow to harvest, this puts its little pad here. And what's important with that is if it goes off the rails and starts going around the map, which it does. I'm at Herb Island here just to show you on the island, and I actually put my Sir-5rM8 right here as a test, and it went all the way down there to try and gather stuff. So I'm not saying the AI is super AI, let's put it that way. But if it does that, the best thing you can do is hit summon bot here, and wherever it's at, it's going to bring it back to this docking pad. So just understand that's how I do it. So I'm going to summon it to get it to stop going squirrely. But that's what it can do as far as gathering. And while it's great, and it does gather, it doesn't gather very much at a time. You can see we had it going for a while. It's only 36 fiber, and it has a 500 weight capacity. So when you start gathering things like raw metal, stone, wood, things like that, it's going to fill it up pretty quickly. But the main reason I use it is for the butler mode. So I'm going to see if I can get him to go over here, and I'm going to get him right in that spot as best as I possibly can. We'll put him right here, that's fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to put him in butler mode. But first things first, we're going to set everything up. So I found setting everything up first and then putting it in the butler mode is the way to go. Okay, so we've got some link storage here. You can actually set this up to have inputs, so it only has certain things that go in it and can be put in it from Sir-5rM8s, but I choose not to do so, and here's why. So first things first, we've got our Indie Forge here. And what we really want to set up is I want this thing to take metal, put it in the Indie Forge, and then take the cooked metal and put it in a dedicated storage for me. So what I found is if you put a dead storage down, we'll just stick it over right here. And we're just going to put metal ingots in it. So we're putting it over here. What you want to look for is down here. So this is enable automated deposit, which is what we want to do. And we also want to enable automated withdrawal. So if we want to craft things from it, and it pulls it out, we want to make sure that automated withdrawal is there. Next thing we want to do is we want to make sure that we have the metal as an input. So I'm going to bring in some metal and do this from scratch for you. So I'm going to clear this, and I'm just going to bring in some metal real fast. And the reason why I'm bringing it in, and I'll show you why. So I've got 100 metal here. If I put it in here and I just put add as input, this is where it can get confusing. So it says 1 stacks, 5 stacks, and then however many. What that's referring to is the storage of the structure itself. So we're going to go with all 100. And what that means is we're going to tell Sir-5rM8 at any given time, I want to make sure that there's a full 100 stacks of metal, if possible, in this dedicated storage, or in this Indie Forge, I'm sorry. Okay, so we've got that set up. Now, I want to make sure also that my Sir-5rM8, and the reason why I have these two in my inventory, I'm going to go and open him up, and I'm going to say I want to set him as a remote input. You can put it in here if you'd like and do add as input, but you can also do it from over here. Set as remote input. You can see it. I have fiber. Now I have a metal ingot here. I'm going to do the same thing. Input remote. And it's going to do here. So this thing is going to pick up these 3 items. It's conking its head at me trying to figure out what's going on. Okay, so now the reason why I use the link storage is because of its capacity. So it's got 50 storage. You can use a vault if you want. 50 doesn't seem like a lot until you see what this thing can do. So for the first test run, you can see this guy is down because we don't have him doing anything. We're going to just throw in metal ingots and metal into this link storage box. So what we want is for the butler to put metal up to 100 stacks, because that's what this thing can hold, into the Indie Forge. And when it's done, we want to have him put metal into here. So what we're going to do, we're going to shut the door here just to be on the safe side. Although it's Herb Island, so I think we'll be okay. We're going to put him into butler mode. So off he goes, and you can see he's grabbing. It's already out of the storage. So sometimes you miss it, but he's already grabbed the metal out of the linked storage, and this is what can happen, and this is why this took me so long to get this video made. It's ARC, it's buggy. There are times these things just go off the rails. If you have a big base, they could go off the rails pretty quick. The easiest thing to do, and I'm playing on PC, is just use the Y command, just the letter Y, and hit stop, and magically it kind of gets them back into play, and you can see it's taken that 60 metal, throwing it right into the Indie Forge. And when it's done with that, there's still the 20 ingots that was in there. It just put it into the dedicated storage for us. So while it's great to have it go out and gather, in the testing that I've done, it doesn't gather metal nearly as quickly as a person could on an Anki or something like that. So it's obviously done here. There's nothing in the link storage. For a test, I have a teleporter here, and I'm over at Herb Island, and I have a Sir-5rM8 to gather over at Blue Ob. So let's go over there now. You can see there's my Sir-5rM8 off in the distance, and you can set the Sir-5rM8 with the input down here for when it gathers the resources you want it to gather. It can put it in here. However, that linked storage box, the butler doesn't do well with having inputs on the linked storage box. So here's what I found. I sent that Sir-5rM8 out to gather, and it only is going to do it when it's within render range. So that's the thing. Another thing that, while this thing is great to gather and does things for you, you kind of have to be in render range in order for it to work. So again, it's out over there, and I don't want it to have it follow me. So the easiest thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to summon it right here. And what it's going to do is it's going to bring it here, and I'll just turn it off follow. It actually has some stuff in its inventory, and lo and behold, there's some metal. So I'm going to put the metal in the linked box, and then I'm going to put him back in harvest mode. So when I do come back here, he's already going to gather. In fact, he's already doing it. That beam, you can see it actually going over to this rock, and eventually it cracks it. And if you look at, it's 180 pounds. When you're a blue ob, there's going to be a lot of metal rocks here, and I found that when it actually gathers a rich metal rock, it fills up with stone so quickly. In fact, there it is. There's so much more there. So I'm going to take that 13 out, and I'm just going to go throw that in the link box. This is linked to the box back at base, and you can see it's still in there. Again, you have to be in render range for this thing to work. So I'm going to teleport back to base. And as soon as I get there, off he goes. So he's taken that 18 metal out. We'll try to get his inventory real quick. There's the 18 metal. And there's 36 fiber from a Sir-5rM8 that I have just running around the base as well, trying to gather some fiber for me. And here's where it gets wonky. I've seen it happen over and over again. My assumption is over time that it would learn the pathways, but I've just hit Y. And then off it goes into, there's that beam from it, off into the Indie Forge. And then there's that 18 metal, and that will smelt away. And then when it's done, and it becomes metal ingots, it will put it in here. So, I don't know if it's already done. That'd be pretty fast. Yeah, it's not done yet. So, that's kind of the basic guide to it, but I think here's how you can use it in practice, and where it actually makes a lot of sense. So I'm just going to dump off my gear here, and I'm going to show you what I have set up. So I got a bunk bed here, and it's set up to a bunk bed over where some metal is on the island, a decent spot. It's actually on a Zeppelin. So you can see I have the bunk bed on the Zeppelin, I have a generator, and I have the other link storage. Now, as soon as you put one down, just understand it's going to take 5 minutes to power up. So understand that that's not necessary. It's not something you can put down right away, and it automatically works. Okay, so it's going to take time. So this Zeppelin's got some weight on it. You can see it's got an 1800 weight limit. So what I've done is I've put the link storage on here, but I actually put some stuff in this box to start with, just to show you what can be done. So just imagine you went out with your Anki and you gathered some metal here and you threw it in your link storage. We'll jump our way around back onto the Zeppelin so you can see it. There we go. So I'm going to put all that metal into the link storage. When you do that, you still have a lot of weight on this thing. So while I did this with a Zeppelin just to fly to a spot, you could still do this with just a generator, a link storage, and just put it at the bottom here, somewhere where you're not going to mess up the metal spawns by having a base here. On the island where we're at here, this is a pretty good spot down here. And you've got a base, you go gather your metal, you throw it into the link storage. Now you can head back to base. I use the bunk bed for a reason, just so we can get this done faster. But you can see in the link storage, there's this metal. Now it's not gone anywhere yet because, again, we've got to be in render range for the Sir-5rM8 to work. So we're just going to fast travel back to base. And I think I traveled to the wrong bed. It's all right. We'll run in so you can see exactly what this thing is going to do. And you can see it's already working. So it's already pulled some of the metal out, and it's putting it into the Indie Forge. And since we did that, the 9 metal that we put, or the 18 metal that had been smelted into 9 is already there. And it's just going to continue to do this stuff over and over until the metal, all the raw metals put in here, and all the ingots that are created are put over here. Now, we can use other dedicated storages, so you can have a row of them here. We'll just put a few of them up. We just have a few of them here. And if there's resources that you need sorted, this thing will do it for you. So one of them we had was fiber, right? We've definitely found that, and we're just going to place one of these and destroy it, so we can get some other resources, just so you can see how this thing works. When it's just not just metal, we'll place it here, and then we'll demolish it. So we've got these resources now. So obviously we're going to deposit the metal. Now we've got polymer. We've got some black pearls. And we've got crystal. And we also have fiber. So each one of these, you need to make sure you go in and click both of these and make sure that they're kind of lit up. Because if you don't, then the Sir-5rM8 does not know where to go. So we're going to automate all these, or enable the automation on all these. Now we're going to place one more dead storage down and destroy it so we can put those resources into the linked storage box. So we'll demolish it. And you can see our guy still circling around. Again, it's Ark, it's buggy. We're going to put all of these resources into our linked storage. And there are times that this guy just needs a little. Sometimes if you go out of render range and come back, it'll do it. But if you're in base, just make him stop. And you can see here, he's going to go through all of his tasks. So first things first was we probably need to get rid of the cooked metal that's there. We need to put it into the dedicated storage. We're at 2509 here. So he's going to make his way over here. And now we're 2589. So it's taking it right out of here and put it in there. So it's just going to go through all of those steps. So you can see here now it's gone to the linked storage and pulled all those resources out. Now that's not one of the specific ones that we set as an input, but it's still going to grab everything and organize it for you because we have very specific things with those inputs that we want to do with the metal. So you can see he's doing his little dance again, and then magically he's going to start beaming stuff around. Again, the gathering one is great. I just didn't find it worth it to use when I like to gather myself. This just takes all of the moving of stuff around out of the equation. So you can see it's just going to start putting things where it belongs. And it's just going to do it step by step by step by step. So you can leave this thing here. And you can see it put away the poly already. There it is right there. So everything you bring back to base from an excursion, you can dump into this linked storage. Now, this same thing can be done when it comes to refrigerators. So this is the next step. So I'm going to make a refrigerator. I'm going to place it down. And I'm going to show you what this thing's all about. So you've come back, you got random berries. This can also work with crop plots, and I'll do a different video on that later to show you how to automate the crop plots, but I want to give you an idea. We've got some berries in here. And we've come back, and I don't want to put this in a fridge. I don't want to do all that work. You just got to set it up once. So we're going to add in as remote input, and we can do up to 80 stacks in the refrigerator. Now we've got a bunch of different berries here. So I'm just going to say that, hey, I want 5 stacks of each of these berries in this refrigerator as long as it's put in a place where that the Sir-5rM8 can go get it. So you just add as input, and you can do remote, which is nice. So you don't have to have them put them in here and do it. You can just do it remotely. And we're going to add all these as an input. And then I'm going to take them all out. Oh, they're all in my inventory. And he's over here doing his dance. Hopefully that gets fixed. And we're going to put them all in here. Now, again, we can go out of render range and I'll show you. So if you went and did something else and came back, you're going to see usually it gets him moving, and there he is. So now he's going to take those berries out. They're already gone. They're in the inventory of the Sir-5rM8. And we did not set that as an input per se. Again, we're going to do a little dance. And then it's going to continue to do its tasks around. But eventually, when that's done, it's going to take these berries and put it in this refrigerator over here. Up to 5 stacks of each. Not 5 of each berry, but 5 stacks of each berry. They were putting the metal away. And the range in this is pretty good too. I have a very small base here, but the range is pretty good. And there he goes. So it kind of does it in order, but you can see now it's put all the berries in the fridge. Again, I can show you the crop plot one. That'll be one that comes probably sooner rather than later. But this thing, once you get moving, is really awesome. So one of the things we had at the Zeppelin, and we'll fast travel back there now. So as we came back on the Zeppelin, again, it's probably better to use a base than a Zeppelin. I just use this just so I can fly around and show you, because the weight on a Zeppelin is not that much. So we've got polymer, we've got black pearl, we've got electronics, we've got crystal. I can actually put that in the linked storage here, and I'm just going to go back to base again, this time to the bunk bed. And there's my Sir-5rM8 already getting started. The only thing that it didn't take out was electronics, because there's no place to put it. So we're going to take the one of the electronics out, and I'll just put it in a dedicated storage right here, and then enable the automated deposit, enable the automated withdrawal. And as soon as this thing gets done with all of its rando tasks, we're finally emptied out of the IndyForge. We don't have any metal to go around. The berries are put away. We're putting away the polymer. We're putting away the crystal. We're putting away the black pearl. Then you're going to see the Sir-5rM8 now understand that, hey, there is a spot for electronics, and we're going to go ahead and go get it. So it's got the crystal yet to go. Not the fastest process in the world, but let me tell you, one you don't have to worry about anymore. So it's just going to put the stuff in and go. Now it's empty. Again, it goes through its whole kind of animation to put everything away. And then it's going to say, wait a second, I think there's something over here. And it does take a second. Sometimes this one worked rather quickly. Now the electronics is gone. And it's going to finish its little animation, close the door, and say, okie dokie. Over to the dedicated storage we go, pop it in, and it's done. So, again, you can use a vault to do this, but it's really great when you can gather resources from other parts of the map, have a little satellite base, a little satellite gather base. Use this linked storage, put it all in there, and then just get back to base. You can just fast travel back. You can put all your gear in the satellite base, fast travel back, and this Sir-5rM8 gets it done for you. Just wanted to say thanks for watching and making it all the way through. It is a little complex. If you have questions, please leave them in the comments, or in the description is a link to our Discord. It is free to get into, and I'm happy to try to answer any questions, because this took me a long time to try and get just this right. So feel free to ask any questions you have. Hopefully I can have the answers for them. Wanted to say thanks for watching. If you found the video helpful, please give it a like and consider subscribing to the channel. We'd greatly appreciate it. And we'll see you all on the next video.